What's happening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Final Third. It's one of your hosts, me, Sam, aka FIFA Brit, and I'm joined by MrBradThomas and Betting the Pitch. We had a pretty great weekend. Once again, we have swept our best bets. We cashed a goal scorers parlay the last time we did this, and we've just cashed all three. I'm glad I finally contributed to this one. No weird Tony voids. It's about time I actually contributed. But yeah, both teams to score over 2.5 in Luton and Brentford cash with a last-minute Luton goal. Both teams to score over 2.5. PSG Lyon cash in the first half.
Oh my
both
God.
Teams to score over 2.5 in San Jose against LA Galaxy cash in the first half. So yeah, we all wanted goals and we all got the goals. So that was pretty awesome. Outside of that, gentlemen, how did your weekends go?
My weekend was pretty good. I just couldn't believe that every bet I touched was cashing, whether it would be like a 95th minute goal or I had a team to cover the spread and they'd score in the 91st or VAR would go my way. I was actually shocked how many VAR decisions went my way this weekend because it's always the opposite, right? This time it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. It was a good weekend. A lot of things went our way. A lot of bounces went our way. I needed both teams to score in that Dortmund game, and we get that late Leverkusen magic again. And then Madrid goes on and takes out Clasico late again. So it was a great weekend.
Awesome weekend. And Arsenal got a last-minute goal for you, Brad. I remember you were talking about -1.5.
Oh, yeah.
Right at the end, baby. Right at the end.
I was so mad too because I had Arsenal to win in under 3.5 goals, and the price was so nice, and I didn't take it. And then I went and did this instead because I thought it was safer, and I was like, "Oh, I feel like an idiot."
Hey, it cashed either way, baby. You're welcome.
That's all that matters. Yeah, I was so happy. It's funny too because like I almost wanted to run back -1.5 for the match against Chelsea, and it was even money and I didn't. And I was like, wow, now I feel so dumb because this one was sweat free.
Yeah, that was easy. I was getting worried. After the first half when we battered them with about 15 shots and only had one goal to show for it. And then we just tore them to shreds in the second half. The fact that this is our first Premier League game playing with our ideal midfield of Rice, Partey, and Odegaard is crazy. Like that was the midfield that we lined up with in the Community Shield against City. And then nobody has stayed fit. None of those three have stayed fit, mostly Partey. And just the fact that Timber's on his way back too. Timber just played a game with the under-21s for Arsenal, and he scored an absolute screamer. Cut it in on his right foot and curled it from outside the 18-yard box. I'm just like, yeah, baby, that's what I want to see. So it may be too little too late, but this is the team we were always meant to have.
Hey, listen, it bees like that sometimes, right? Like, it's always that too little too late or better late than never. We'll see. There's still some shakes and twists and turns of the story of the Premier League title. Just win all of your matches and just pray that City, slips up in one of theirs.
Yeah. Hands to the sky, Brighton. This Thursday. Just do us a favor, would you? Come on.
It's funny because I think I only know Arsenal fans. I don't know any City fans. Well, I know Liverpool fans. Obviously, my wife's a Liverpool fan, but people who bet. And so it's only funny to hear from you guys, especially because you guys are now in the trailing position. So it's fun to see all the banter on Twitter.
Oh yeah. The banter never dies. Even if we lose, the banter never dies. I'm always there.
I love it.
Well, I want to talk about what happened over the weekend. We have a couple of games that we've got to talk about. Firstly, I think the El Clasico was amazing. Can we finally put to bed the notion that Jude Bellingham isn't a big game player? I'm sorry he didn't score against City. He's just scored 2 winning goals in extra time in back-to-back El Clasicos in his first season. That seems like a big game player to me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just look at the score sheet and they look at, did he score? Did he assist? He didn't score 3 goals. He didn't do anything. But if you watch the game, he's all over the pitch. He's creating chances. He's creating offense. He's, dribbling past it's crazy, the skill that he has. And it's fun to watch. I just think that, people, like I said, they're not really watching the game, maybe per se, the people that are saying that. And they're just kind of looking at the stats at the end of the game and seeing, oh, he played, 120 minutes, but he didn't score. Like, well, you got to watch the game, and see what he did out there on the pitch. So, yeah, I mean, he's just unbelievable. I mean, Sam and I were talking about it, that his goal line was set at like 5.5, 6.5 to start the season. I mean, just insane. Like, I wish I would have put my fucking mortgage on that.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that at the beginning of the season he was even money to get a shot on target.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, that didn't last long.
No, it did. I have so many Jude Bellingham slips from early in the season where I was like, I cannot believe these.
I know. Yeah, that changed quick.
That's one of my favorite things. I just love like looking back from like slips from like early in the season, even if it's just like basketball. Honestly, just like fun things. Like you look back and you're like, Tobias Harris used to have a 25.5 point line. Wow.
Yeah.
Those days are long gone. Wow, that's weird. You see like Jude Bellingham like plus 120 for a shot on target, and you're like, wow, what a time in our life that was. What a good time.
Those were the days.
Yeah. Like early MLS when Emil Forsberg was plus 1,800 for 3 first half shots, and now he's like never higher than plus 500. I was just like, yeah, thank God we got 2 weeks of those prices, and I fucking hammered them every time, and I was just like, yes. That was fun. Good time. In the Premier League, we had a lot of interesting movement in the relegation battle because really it didn't go well for anyone apart from Everton. And I guess Burnley. I guess you could say Burnley had a good one. Luton got absolutely spanked 5-1 to Brentford. They got that goal at the end, though, to cash us, which was very nice. Sheffield got spanked 4-1 by Burnley. Big win for Burnley. And then Forest.
Big win.
Forest lost probably controversially to Everton 2-0. Big win for Everton. I think that one is the one I want to talk about first, just because so many incidents in that game. I think Ashley Young was involved in, I think it was 3 separate potential penalty incidents. Definitely one handball, and it was either 2 handballs and a foul or 1 handball and 2 fouls. But Ashley Young was involved every single time. How he's still playing is beyond me, and the Forest Twitter account got mad.
Yeah, they did.
They got real mad.
I want to know what you guys think about this one, because I have thoughts, but I'll let you guys go first, because this, I don't know why, but there are so many like traditionalists that get mad about tiny things, but people were getting mad about this tweet. What do you guys think?
I wasn't mad at it. Like the way they framed it, it was like, wow, I could see how they're pissed, right? Like the VAR is a Luton Town fan. Why would he be the VAR guy for this match? Because he can easily influence or at least help Luton Town out. I don't know. I didn't think all of the no calls were as cut and dry as they were suggesting. Like I didn't just feel like, oh, they blew it. And to be really frank, I took Nottingham Forest to score a little bit later in the match because I thought they were playing well enough to get one. So that's me saying this is unbiased. I didn't think it was like I was kind of shocked. Let's put it that way. I was shocked they said that, like how pissed they were, and they came out publicly and said it on their app, on their page. Excuse me.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy to see that. I wasn't expecting that. But we've talked about it on the last podcast that the consistency with VAR just isn't there.
Right.
And if that's the case, if there was really a Luton fan that was running the VAR, like that needs to be checked out. That needs to be looked into. Like that can't happen. But at the end of the day, like there's just so many issues with VAR. I mean, it's not just this game. It's all over. We see it all the time. We talk about it all the time. It's just like beating a dead horse. I mean, it's got to get cleaned up. It's got to get fixed. Hopefully something happens.
Yeah. You know what I think they should do. So you know how the commentators can hear VAR in their ear. We, the fans, should be able to hear VAR.
They're getting there.
That'd be cool.
I think we're almost there. In fact, I'm not sure if the MLS is about to trial this or if it's the USL, one of the leagues below. But I know that they're trying to implement 2 new changes, both of which I love. One is the VAR audio, or maybe not the VAR audio, but the referee explaining the decision. Yeah. The same way that you do in like an NFL game or like an NBA game. That's going to be heard throughout the stadium. And the other rule, which is not related to VAR, but I also like, is if a player is hurt and is on the ground for longer than 15 minutes, then they have to come off the field to be checked out by their medical staff for like 2 minutes.
I just
So,
think another issue too is like the camera angles. Like for me, it's just like I mean, these clubs are making billions of dollars,
Yeah.
and it's like the biggest sport in the world. I don't understand how we can't have like a camera angle that's directly down the line.
yeah,
And just
Yes.
see like it's so easy, like
yeah.
put a camera on the ref or something, or anything, just something where we can see directly down the line instead of at like a 30-degree angle and we're guessing, if this is a straight line and if he's off by a toenail or
Yep.
the
My
FA Cup with
God.
United. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh
that was
my God.
onside. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care
Yes.
who you had money
It's
on.
over the guy's foot. They drew a
It was-
line over the front of his shoe. Like,
It's
It
so
was just
bad.
that's what I'm talking about. Like the corruption in the sport, people talk about all the time. I don't really want to get into that, but it's like it just needs to be cleaned up. Like this game is like, they call it the beautiful game. Let's fucking clean up VAR. Let's clean up this bullshit. It's so easy. I feel like just to fix, but it's
mhm.
just stupid mistakes. And I mean, a toenail. I mean, that dude was off by a toenail.
Yeah, dude.
There was
I
no
mean,
advantage. There was no
yeah.
advantage whatsoever.
Yeah. And I think, coming back to the El Clasico briefly, there was that incident where Yamal had the shot that was potentially over the line, potentially not.
Yes.
Firstly, incredibly hilarious that Barca fans were getting upset by that, even though their club voted against goal line technology for the season.
That's another thing. Like
It's a stupid.
you guys voted to keep this president in La Liga, and he doesn't
Yeah.
want to spend the money on goal line technology. So here we are.
Like, so that's stupid because goal line technology can give you a decision so like instantly. The refs watch buzzers if the ball goes over the line. But failing that, say you don't want to spend the $2.5 billion it costs for goal line technology. Why can't you then have a camera angle directly over the goal so that VAR can have a good angle? Because and I was this will shock you guys, but I was getting into a debate on Twitter about this.
Oh, really?
You'll never see that.
Tell me more.
You debating on Twitter? No.
Yeah, right. This famously never happened. But the incident that started it all is Frank Lampard's goal that was not given against Germany in 2010, when his shot goes off the bar a foot over the line and then bounces out, like clearly over the line, and the goal's not given, and it basically ruins the entire momentum of the game. We would have been 2-2 at that point against Germany. We ended up losing 4-1. Not that I'm still mad about it, but the camera angle, which we got on broadcast, that the commentators got to see instantly and were like, that's a goal. How has that not been given as a goal? It's clearly over the line, was exactly on the touchline and the perfect angle where you're lined up with the posts beautifully and you can see the ball over. No weird, funky bullshit. You can see the ball. How do we have that in 2010, 14 years ago, and we don't have that now? And even if we do have that, and maybe the VAR room gets to see it, and I doubt that, but say they have it, why can't we see it?
Yep.
We saw that on broadcast live during the World Cup. Everyone in England got furious at the same time because we can see it right there. And now we can't, and now even if it exists at all, which I don't think it does, which is also ridiculous. Now we can't even see it, even if it does, and it probably doesn't.
Yeah,
Why?
I mean, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and it's like NHL is probably the smallest sport out of the top, major sports in the United States or maybe the world, as far as like revenue and things like that. They have a camera in the goal, like literally just a camera in the goal so they can see when the puck crosses the line. It's really not that hard, not that difficult to build something into the post that points down or some sort of sensor that points down. It's just, I don't know. It's a money thing, just like anything else.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, not to get too hung up about it, because we were talking about the Forest tweet, and then we got onto VAR. Before we take the entire podcast talking about VAR. Yeah, I didn't see a massive deal with the tweet. I just don't think they understand how VAR works. I think it felt like they think that VAR is just like a little man in a room, like sitting at his computer like this. And it's a minimum of 2 guys. Like it's never just one. And then they requested to the Premier League and the PGMOL, whoever you say it, for the audio from the VAR room. and I just sort of want to know what they're expecting to hear. Like, it's not going to be.
I got money. I got money on this game. We can't give him this penalty.
Yeah. What's up? Hello. Yeah, no, Ashley Young has definitely handballed it, but he plays for Everton, and that could be a Forest pen. And I support Luton, so that's not a pen, guys. Not a pen. Like, what's it going to be? Like, what are you going to hear that isn't going to? You're already mad. You're already mad about it, but I don't know. I also thought it was incredibly hypocritical, and Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher pissed me off most days. Just any words that come out of their mouth are infuriating to me. And it was just so annoying hearing Gary Neville say, this isn't the appropriate way to go about it. You know, back in the olden days, the manager would accept a fine on behalf of the team, and he'd go and have a press conference and say, the officiating was rubbish. Yeah? Well, when Arteta did that months ago, you said that he was out of line and he was behaving inappropriately, and that wasn't appropriate of a manager to act in that way. So in Gary Neville's eyes, how are we supposed to do it? I don't know. That pissed me off. Mostly because
I just hope there's some change, because I mean, not for nothing, there's just, a lot of complaining, a lot of managers complaining, complaining about scheduling, complaining about VAR, complaining about officials, complaining about this, complaining about that. It's every day, whether it's Klopp, whether it's Barcelona, whoever. I mean, everyone just seems to be getting after their press conference and just complaining about something. So I don't know. Hopefully it gets cleaned up. We can only, I guess, hope, and it's really out of our control at this point.
Yeah. I don't know how you make it better without us just listening in and providing some consistency. It's just got to be consistent.
Yeah, I feel you. Anyway, enough venting about VAR, enough looking back at the weekend. We've got some midweek action, and we have a whole weekend of action as well. I just realized while we were recording that I didn't actually write down the games I wanted to talk about in the little breakdown document. So we're going to raw dog it from my phone, baby. I'm ready to go. We're backpacking it. We're piloting front seat right from the phone itself. So looking at the midweek fixtures, honestly, I don't want to sound like a Prem head, but none of these games outside the Premier League are really that interesting to me, because all of these leagues are basically wrapped up. Serie A's done officially. La Liga is essentially done. Barcelona are not coming back from 11 points or whatever the difference is now, with 4 or 5 games to go. So, yeah. Bundesliga's done as well. It's really just the Prem. For once, the Premier League is the exciting one again, which is nice. Man City haven't run away with it. A couple of games we're going to talk about. Palace against Newcastle is the first one I want to talk about, because I'm sure you guys will agree, this Palace side is so much better when Elise and Eze are playing.
It's crazy.
Yes. So much better. And also, they actually have a manager who knows how to open up the team and create opportunities for his players. I going to talk about this as my best bet. I took Crystal Palace team total over 1.5. It's plus money, and it gets a Newcastle side who obviously, shouldn't be taken lightly. But one thing that's been absolutely evident with this Newcastle side is they're a 100% different team playing away from St. James Park. And what I mean by that is not even necessarily like every team is different playing away from home, but tactically they're different. They try to sit deep away from home, and it's like ineffective. Why? Because their back line has a bunch of big, slow dudes who just can't keep pace with anybody, which generally leads to a ton of goals. I think that it's going to be funny watching them try to mark Mateta, Olise, Eze, like dudes who are all in really good form and all have a ton of pace. And the passing between Elise and Eze has been absolutely brilliant. If you want to look at even the concession numbers, Newcastle last year obviously was hard to keep that pace up year over year. We're only conceding 1.03 goals per road contest. This year they're up to 2.13. That's only 5th best in the league. They're sitting right there with Bournemouth, Fulham, West Ham, Forest, teams who we are, typically fading. So I like this. The team's going to have their opportunities. I think it could turn into one of those matches where we're a lot of people are going to be putting money on Newcastle, and then at the end of the day, wondering what happened to their draw no bet slip that was minus money for Newcastle.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think this one I'm feeling the same way Brad does as far as goals and Palace. And with those two guys back in the lineup and healthy, just you saw a totally different Palace team against. I know it was West Ham, but they dominated. I mean, putting up 5 goals was just incredible. So I think they could do something like that in this one. Like you said, if Newcastle sit back and Palace get at them early and force them to attack, it could just be another open back and forth. It could be another 4-2 kind of match. The over 3 is at almost even money, plus minus 105, plus 100. That's kind of where I'm leaning right now.
Yeah, since Glasner took over, they've scored 2+ goals in every home match except against Luton Town, including a match where they scored 3 goals against 2 goals against Manchester City.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, that's just down to City having shit defense,
Yeah.
Not to roast Man City. I mean, I'll do it anyway, but they're not like just like Newcastle. They're not the defensive wagon that they used to be. These guys don't keep clean sheets anymore. And Newcastle are terrible on the road. I give you that. Honestly, I'm not even sure if I can trust them for a goal. I think I'm with you, Brad. I think Palace team total over 1.5. But it's wild how much that relies on Elise and Eze. Like if I don't see, even if one of them sits out, I'm off. I'm off. Like I'll take the one that starts for shots because he's gonna have to backpack. But no, it's got to be both. It has to be both.
Exactly.
And they're so good when they play together. So that's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to that one. And then we have the Merseyside derby, Everton against Liverpool. Big one for Liverpool. And no surprises here, am going to just take Liverpool for as many shots as I possibly can. Because Everton are just going to sit in the most disgusting low block to try and take a draw out of this. That's just how they approach all their home games now. And I have a feeling that Liverpool are going to just rip like 25, 30 shots and just try and... Because they need these points and they need the goal difference. They need the goal difference badly.
It's funny to see that I was like looking at the corner handicap. Liverpool matches, I don't care home or away, if it's not against Arsenal... if it's not against Manchester City, if it's got against Manchester United, normally start at like minus 3.5. Theirs are minus 1.5 on the corner handicap, which is hilarious to me because they could easily be up 5-1 in the first half in corners.
Yeah, this game feels like an under game. I just, Liverpool are coming off the 3-1 win on the road versus Fulham, but they didn't look very good at all. I think they only created like a 1xG, but they just don't look dangerous in the final third. They just don't look like they have that pace anymore. They look tired, honestly, and they look maybe a tad beat and a little exhausted. So for me, Everton, needing maybe just a point just to get out of here, could sit back, soak it up, and I could see a 0-0, 1-0 type game in this one. I mean, I don't really have a play. I don't like taking unders, but this just feels like a low scoring. I'm not impressed with Liverpool lately and the way that they're playing, and especially if Nunez is out hurt. I don't know what his status is, if he's going to be able to play or go a full 90. But yeah, for me, it's just no play here, but it feels like a low scoring KG type match.
Yeah, it's funny. You said low scoring. Liverpool
because the total's at like 3.3 1/4. I mean,
3 1/4. Yeah, Liverpool matches. Whenever you see like their totals, they're always in that 3 range. I think they've gone under 3 of the last 4 matches they played. But that's normally because Liverpool scored 2 goals and then Everton don't find the back of the net, which probably is going to happen in this one where it's going to be 2-0 and people are going to be like, why didn't Everton score? It's because Everton can't, even when Everton want to score, they can't create an XG of over 1 goal. Like, what are they going to do? Have Dwight McNeil score 2 worldies again,
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way Everton score in this one is if it's, something crazy from outside the box or a set piece, because Liverpool have been struggling at set pieces this season. So,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Well, I guess we'll see. I think it depends on who they run out there. If Salah and Nunez are fit, because neither of them started against Fulham, which was a surprise. I was excited about it because I went straight to Diaz for my first half shots. Dude took a shot inside 3 minutes and then didn't shoot for the rest of the half. I had him paired. I had Muniz and Diaz for 2 first half shots and 3 first half shots. Muniz got his 3, and he always gets his late. Like, I never panic about him. He got his like second and third, like after the 40th minute. Diaz finishes on 1. So what a prick. The near misses are continuing, and that I was annoyed about that one. Now, the last game I want to talk about, at least for the Wednesday slate, is Man U against Sheffield, mostly because, God, I don't know how to feel about Man U. Such a weird side. I mean, they almost choked a semi-final to Coventry, which I would have been so great if they'd lost that, but
I mean, they really should have.
What it is. Yeah, they should have lost. They had a Man U fan in the VAR room, probably. Who knows?
Yeah, apparently.
And then Sheffield are in do or die mode.
You can't trust Manchester United, but you could definitely trust them at home. I think they're going to score a ton of goals here. They'll probably let 1 or 2 in. I wouldn't be shocked if this was like a crazy scoreline, like 4-2, 4-1.
Give me that.
4-3. Like,
that's what I want.
I think it can have fireworks, you know. We'll see. Also, it'll be how Sheffield United line up, right? For the first time since
talk to me about this because I know exactly what you're going to say.
I think for like the first time, I can't remember. It was like maybe since like December. Chris Wilder lined up with a back 4, and it was fun to watch. You know, I thought they played more free, but I don't know if Burnley can rack it up against a back 4. I don't know how they're going to fare against United.
Yeah, this feels like goals to me too. Like I'm leaning both teams to score and over 2.5 at -125.
Yeah,
feels like
good
goals, price. That yeah, it feels like good price there. I don't trust. I said this in the Discord in the FA Cup match for United. I don't trust United to keep anyone out of the net. So, I mean, I don't care who they're playing, where they're playing. They just are abysmal to back. And Sheffield, like you said, they played pretty freely with that formation. I'm hoping to see that again because, I mean, you know, yeah, it was home, yeah, it was against Burnley, but they created, you know, over a 2.2 XG. So I'm excited to see what they do. And I definitely think goals come in this one.
That's what I'm hoping for. Give me lots of shots. Give me lots of goals. Brad, are you going to run back Vinny D'Souza Costa shots?
If they run it back 4, I'm 100% going to run it back. Okay, and what's really frustrating is he had 3 shots that cross that they sent into the box that hit like 3 people. One hit his leg, like he was right in front of the goal. What like I hate how like it's so subjective sometimes. Like, what do they think he was doing? Like he's right in front of the keeper. Like he's not passing that, you know?
Yeah. There have been so many of those recently that just pissed me off. Like I don't think people that work at Opta have eyes. Like it's ridiculous.
If you swing at the ball and make contact.
Exactly. Like
every day, Sam wakes up and has a tweet ready for them and just fires away.
Because nothing in their definition of a shot says the ball has to go towards the goal. Like if you don't whiff, if you like hack at the ball and it like brushes off the ball and the ball like spins backwards, in my eyes, that's a shot. That's a really shitty. The shot went backwards, but what else were you doing? And there have been so many of those where the guy has made contact with just the worst possible contact, and you're just like, why didn't you put your foot through the ball and just rocket that shit forward? But they slice it and he goes off at a weird angle, and Ops is just like, I did not see that. I don't know what he was doing, but it wasn't a shot in my eyes. And it's like, okay, what was it in your eyes? What was that? What did he do? So. But enough of my beef with Opta. That can wait. Thursday, we have an interesting one for the title race. We have Brighton at home against Man City. And I feel like we're just going to continue to be like, maybe this is the one. Maybe this is where City dropped the ball a little bit. And then City win like 5-1. And we're like, well, we should have seen that coming.
Yeah, it feels like that, right? Like, this could be a tough match. I would probably take City to win and both teams to score. I don't know the price, but if both teams are scoring over 2.5 is -110. That has to be like plus 145. I could find that price, but I'm just being lazy. Let me find it.
I'll find it. You talk.
Yeah. Okay. So like I was like doing some digging on City. They don't keep clean sheets. Like that's not doing the digging, right? But if you want to justify other teams scoring on City, it's not going to be someone who's looking at like a bunch of advanced analytics and say, "Oh, that's why they're scoring." Like advanced analytics say that City have an impenetrable. Don't get penetrated on this show. An impenetrable defense. But it's more of just brain farts. They'll have brain farts throughout the match. Bad passing decision, passing in bad lanes where defensive players are. Keeper error. Like it's funny. I feel like it just happens so often where you can just continue to cash. It doesn't matter who they're playing. Someone's going to score on them.
Man City to win and both teams to score is plus 145 on FanDuel. Quick shot.
Wow. Baby. I know my freaking lines. That was pretty impressive, Brad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one is another one that feels like an under. I'm just going to stay away from another team that
if you like an under, baby, just take it.
No,
it's so much fun.
I don't watch.
I can't yet. I'm not going to watch. I'm going to sit there and pace around wherever I am and just like every 10 minutes look at my phone and pray that a goal didn't pop up.
Yeah.
So it's just
that's how I am all the time, and I live for it. My Champions League first half unders so sweaty. It's just like you bet on first half shots, and you're like, shit, 20 minutes has gone by, and they were just passing the ball around. You bet on a first half under, or you bet on a full game under, and you're just like, why is this taking so long? Yeah. It's addicting. You'll love
it. Blow the whistle.
Yeah, no thanks. I'm going to pass on that. But yeah, Brighton still are dealing with a ton of injuries, a ton of, offensive injuries. No Ferguson, no Matoma still. And
March. What the fuck happened to
Solly March?
When did he get hurt? I feel like I missed that, and then I never saw him again.
Yeah, October. He got hurt like back in October.
Brutal. He was so good.
Yeah, so good. So for me, it's just, and this feels like, are City going to have Haaland back? Are they going to do some rotation? They're another team that I feel like is playing a ton. Their, fatigue's got to be setting in for them as well. On the road, tough environment. It feels like it's going to be like Pep's going to come out. He's going to tell them to score 2 quick goals or something like that. It's going to be like 2-0. Then they're just going to sit on it. And that's going to be it. And Brighton's not going to be able to do much or create much. But if Brighton are frustrating City and City are having an off day and there's no Haaland and maybe KDB's on the bench or something like that, then I could see it being, a 0-0 type match and Brighton just kind of shutting City down because it just seems like, they're gassed. I mean, they have to be.
I'll tell you this. The one thing I hate about City is anytime you're like, wow, this is a great under spot for them, they just explode.
I know.
It's so
That's also why I'm not taking the under, because I feel like they could score 5 goals like in the first half if they really wanted to. But, they looked uninterested against Chelsea in the last match. And, obviously this is a lot bigger match with it, the Premier League on the line. But on the road, going to be a tough test for them, I feel like. Brighton's no slouch, but they're just missing too many key attacking pieces for me to, kind of lean towards any sort of goals being scored or over, even though City's been, like Brad said, awful at keeping, clean sheets this season. So,
what else pisses me off about City? You can look at a game and be like, I know they're going to struggle here. Like, I am upset with myself that I didn't take an under for the FA Cup semi-final, especially coming off 120 minutes against Madrid that had just happened on Wednesday. And I was just like, I knew it. And the problem is that even when City look gassed, even when they look terrible, you just know someone's scoring a goal after the 80th minute someone's either going to be brilliant and score a fantastic goal, or the other team is just going to make the most idiotic mistake, and you're just going to be like, why? Like the Champions League final, Inter Milan playing really well, and then it just bounces out of the box, and no one decides to close it down. It just just strolls on out, and all the defenders just sit there going, I hope someone picks up that ball. And then Rodri just comes in and just slams it in the back of the net. And that's how City score, and then the game ends 1-0. That's what happened in the semi-final just now. That's what happened in the Champions League final. Even when they're not playing well, they just find one at the end. And it's just like, that's the most annoying thing, because not only did you not cash on whatever over you might have like slammed all your player props, but now as someone who doesn't support City, you're like, fuck, not only did I not make money on this, you're now making me really upset about this game as well. So you come out with nothing. And you can't even emotionally hedge it, because City are always like minus 300 or worse. So you can't even just be like, I'll just put money on City to win, because you can't put money on City to win and make good money. You have to trust them to score a ton, or you take the under, and somehow you're going to get screwed. And it's happened to me a whole lot, and I'm really upset about it.
We're here for you. This is what we're here for.
Thank you. I'm going to start using this podcast as therapy. It's much.
Yeah, we have to name it like Brad and BTP's therapy couch for Sam.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Well, better than any other kind of couch, that's for sure.
Oh. You got an extra roll of tissues for us.
Oh, baby.
This is a PG podcast.
Is it? I don't think I ever said it was that. Well, that takes us nicely into the weekend, because, I mean, Madrid play on Friday. I don't want to disrespect Madrid, but the league's done, right?
Yeah.
No, let's just we can talk about the Prem this weekend and some game, our best bets, and we're going to put together another goal scorer lay for everyone.
Yeah, baby. We've got some interesting ones. Saturday, we have the early kickoff. If anyone feels like waking up at 7:30 in the morning, if you're on the Eastern Coast, is West Ham against Liverpool. Again, two teams where you're like, are you good? You used to be good. What's going to happen here?
Yeah, this is another game that it's like, we talked about Liverpool. They're playing on Wednesday, and then they got to come back and play on Saturday morning, on the road. This is a West Ham team that I continue to target for goals, because I just feel like they have the talent and they have the skill. They just haven't been able to kind of figure it out, I guess. But the totals are juiced in this one. I was looking at like over 3 or both teams to score and over 2.5, and everything's just totally juiced in this one. I maybe, depending on how the lineups are, was thinking over 1.5 in the first half.
I like that.
But yeah, I got to wait for lineups in this one, because the totals and everything are just skyrocket in this match.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a wait and see for me, just because like these guys are logging a ton of miles on their legs. So definitely you could bet Liverpool first half corner handicap and full game corner handicap against West Ham. That's just about it for me.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those games where I do another one of those first half shot slotters where I pick 2 guys from each team to get 2 each. And hopefully I get it right this time, because last time in one of my videos I recorded, I was like Palace against Liverpool. It wasn't Palace. It was Palace against West Ham. The Palace-Liverpool was the first one where Salah fucked me over. And then I was like, okay, we're going to run it back for Palace-West Ham. We're going to go Eze and Elise for 2, and then got to pick out of like Kudus, Bowen, or Antonio for 2 first half shots. And I was just like, it's usually Bowen. I like the value on Kudus, but I don't like Antonio. Antonio really sucks. I can never really rely on him. And then what happens? He takes their only shot for the half and then scores their only goal. And I was just like, you motherfucker, you heard me shitting on you. So one day I'll get it right. But this is one of those games that I think could be back and forth, or West Ham just roll over and die. I don't see a game where West Ham dominate Liverpool, but if that happens, would be hilarious. Objectively, so funny.
I'm sure Liverpool comes out with this one, but they're going to be. They're playing Wednesday and then having to travel again on early morning Saturday. Early morning for us Saturday. Just feels like a trap game kind of thing.
I just feel like the only problem with West Ham is David Moyes is going to be out at the end of the season, and they're not rallying behind him whatsoever. Like they're just kind of like, all right, see it, dude.
Yeah,
you're right about that.
I never get why clubs just like openly say, yeah, we're looking for another manager now, but then just don't fire the guy. Like, fire the guy. Come on.
Yeah.
It's so. Could you imagine being like one of those managers? Like, it's happening at West Ham. It's happening at AC Milan. It's happening in a couple of other clubs where we know the club is looking for a new manager, but they don't fire the guy in the job, and it's just like, all right, I'll just keep going along, I guess. Can't wait to the end of the season. This will be fun, guys. See you guys next year. No. But yeah, weird one. Some interesting. This one I think could be really fun for player props is Fulham Palace because it's got two of my favorite guys. Well, three of my favorite guys. It's got Eze and Elise and then Rodrigo Muniz up top for Fulham. If there's a first half shot builder that just like screams, yeah, you do this. Muniz won first half shot, Eze won first half shot, Elise won first half shot. Done. That's guaranteed to be plus money for three of them. And I don't see how it doesn't hit if they all play. So, gonna lock that one in when the lines have come out.
Yeah, I'd probably bet Fulham team total over 1.5 at -115. They're so good at home. They score a lot at home. And then I kind of want this one to be a little back and forth, right? Like, I hope Glasser doesn't have Palace just backs to the walls. He's been pretty adamant that they need to get out of that mentality, right? Like that mentality of what they had with Roy Hodgson as their manager. Like, stop playing timid, stop playing afraid on the road, shoot the ball when you have the shot. So that actually just plays in the hands for Fulham to score multiple goals.
Yeah, I'm leaning the over in this one, lineup depending. Another team that's, in Palace is playing on Wednesday. That's got to come back and play again on Saturday. So I would definitely wait for lineups before placing any of these bets for these Saturday matches. Because you got to feel like there's probably going to be some sort of rotation. You just don't know where. And with Elise coming back from injury, does he get a break on Saturday? But yeah, if he and Eze are playing, I kind of like the over 2.75 at -110. It's got good value, and I could see, I could see a 2-2 type match in this one.
Oh, I'd love that. I'm going to talk about this game, and then before you guys even try and sneak him in ahead of me, I'm claiming my goal scorer for the goal scorer parlay. Newcastle against Sheffield United. I call Isak. Perfect striker matchup, baby. Perfect striker matchup. Strikers against Sheffield United. First half shots on target, goals. Perfect spot for everyone. Isak is mine. You guys can't have him. Okay, now you guys can go.
Isak is going to be so fun because I'm going to bet him 2 shots on target. It's like clockwork, Like, it's the freest bet of freest bets. My goal scorer is Bruno Fernandes. Are we doing it? Wait, are we only doing it for this weekend?
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah. And that was going to be my goal scorer.
You gonna take Bruno?
Yes. You
can take Bruno. Right? You can take Bruno.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Man. I had Rasmus and Bruno written down right here because I was going to take either one.
Is that for the Wednesday game or for the game against Burnley?
Yeah, that was for the Wednesday game.
I thought we were doing weekend
against Sheffield. Oh, whatever.
I had Bruno against Sheffield United, but since we're doing weekend only,
I had Bruno against Sheffield as well because I feel like United's going to score like 3 or 4 that game.
They should.
Yeah, but anyways, that game, I don't know. It's going to be probably all Newcastle. I mean, all the lines are absolutely juiced on them as far as totals and team totals and things like that. But I'll wait on lineups, see what they look like, and see what kind of rotation Sheffield puts out there. Maybe they could sneak one in on the road and take a look at both teams to score over 2.5 type play. But once again, just going to be waiting on lineups for this one.
Yeah, I'll go with Ollie Watkins. He's due. He's in a little bit of a regression, and by regression, I don't mean performance-wise. I just mean goal output because he's still assisting a crap ton of goals. But so I'm gonna go with Mr. Watkins to score a goal.
I like that. Interesting one here. Aston Villa against Chelsea. One team trying to get into the top 4, the other team trying to get into the top half of the table. There really are levels to this. But Villa are at home. And I don't see how they don't just like spank the living shit out of Chelsea. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
I wonder if Palmer's going to be back.
I guess what was up with him?
He's got an illness or something. Yeah. From what I read. But yeah, it's just obviously.
I was happy.
Completely lost without him today.
I was happy.
But yeah, if he's playing. It sucks because this is another one where the totals are juiced because the books are expecting goals, which is understandable because that's how I'm leaning as well. Villa's defense has been below average. We know how Chelsea is. if Chelsea just had a goddamn striker that could hit the net and score a fucking goal, they would be in a much better spot than they are now. I mean, how awful is Nicholas Jackson? I just,
Okay.
you know what's funny? I tried to get like a side by side clip because I was watching MLS and I can't remember what game it was, but over the weekend, MLS game, the guy had the exact same scenario as Jackson when he was alone on the keeper. I mean, I literally had deja vu watching it. I'm like, and the guy goes right around the keeper, shoots it, scores. Had two defenders coming down on him just like Jackson. And I'm like, this is an MLS player and a Premier League player couldn't figure it out. And then today, point blank range, couldn't even hit the target. I was like, what is he doing out there? I mean, just absolutely lost out there. Lost.
I think at times we are a little harsh on the guys. I think he had a really bad game, but I give guys in that scenario a big break where your team's not playing great football. They're not creating a ton of scoring chances. So when you get that scoring chance, you're like, oh my God, I got to do something great. And you kind of outperform yourself or overthink it. I had no money on him, so it's easy for me to say, right? Like I had no money on Chelsea to score. I I had
But
nothing.
I mean, he was brought. I mean, I think they paid close to like $40 million for him. I mean, he's brought in for this reason. He's brought in to be a striker at Chelsea
Yeah.
and score goals. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just,
his
and
goal
I know,
outfit.
and I know his talent's there, and he's definitely probably in a slump due to maybe lack of confidence or shit going on in the locker room. We saw it with the penalty incident the other day. So it's just, who knows what's really going on, behind the scenes. But I know he's a better player than that. And I think that's why I'm kind of being hard on him right now. Like, he is a better player than that. And I was super excited when Chelsea signed him.
Yeah. I want to add something though. Like we have to remember this is year one. I don't consider the end of last year being in the Premier League. I always like to give the guys 2 years. Only guy who in the recent times who's had instant success in year one has been Erling Haaland. This doesn't happen. So I always like to give him a little.
Do we want to talk about the EPL GOAT Cole Palmer?
It's not year one for Cole Palmer being an EPL.
Do we want to talk about the EPL GOAT Cole Palmer year one?
It's not year one for Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer had the privilege of playing for Manchester City and getting beat up by those dudes every day. Like that's a little bit different. I was talking more like guys like Darwin Nunez, guys who come over in year one. It's kind of just a transition.
I know what you're saying. I'm just messing around.
Patson Daka, he never panned out, but
no, he didn't.
Yeah, that's the definition of a championship striker right there.
1000%.
Yeah. And then moving into the Sunday games, Sunday ones are interesting. I mean, the game we have to talk about is Arsenal against Spurs. It is outside of El Clasico. It's one of the most intense rivalries in the world, and people for some reason don't give it the respect it deserves. And it's mostly people outside of England. But this is a massive rivalry. Like I can't tell you how much these teams hate each other. Like top three, it's like El Clasico, it's Rangers against Celtic, and then it's Arsenal Spurs. And like that is the top three rivalries, absolutely. And we have to go to White Hart Lane, or actually, wait, it's not even White Hart Lane anymore. They don't even play there anymore. So I can't even make my shite fart lane joke anymore, which is a bummer. They play in
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Hotspur Stadium, baby.
Yeah, they got a new one. White Hart Lane. Wow, that takes me back. I just pulled knowledge out of my ass from when I was like 8 years old. What a time in our lives. But yeah, this is an interesting. I feel like I said this is an interesting one, so I need to get a thesaurus because I need better adjectives. But Spurs have so many injuries right now, and refuses to change his approach regardless of just like what he has available to him. And if he plays how he usually plays, where he just plays like full like ball to the wall attack and does not transition back on defense and does not set up defensively, Arsenal are going to destroy them because we play so well against teams that don't sit back, and Ange does not have this team sit back. And I mean, they're going to be running like Ben Davies is going to be running out there. Ben Davies is going to be playing either centre back or left back, which means he's dealing with Havertz or he's dealing with Saka. So good luck against that, dude. Good luck against that. And I was at the Arsenal Spurs game at the Emirates in the beginning of the season around September or so. And Arsenal are going to be pissed because that game finished 2-2. Jesus had one of the most clear chances you'll ever see and completely screwed it up. And the only reason the Spurs equalized and got that second goal was because Jorginho pulled a full Gerrard slip and just gave the ball away and let them score. So big revenge spot for Arsenal here. We need the win. It's going to be a hostile atmosphere because Spurs are playing for top 4, so they really need this one. And we can put a proper dagger in them because Villa are going to play Chelsea the day before, probably get the win there. So Spurs are going to be feeling it. But enough about my bias takes.
I initially wanted to bet Arsenal team total in that match, but the team total just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm not going to lay minus 170 when I could just take minus 110 on the money line. Not saying that I think Arsenal's going to win or anything. I just feel better getting a 40-cent advantage in that scenario.
Wait, we're minus 110 on the money line?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Oh, okay. That's disrespectful as fuck.
Yeah, it's that's what I thought was kind of interesting, right?
That's crazy. Yeah, that's wild. Okay, I'm excited now.
Yeah, Spurs are dealing with some injuries, especially if Poro's out for at right back. That's a big loss for them.
He's back in training, apparently. I hope
he's never going to score a goal. I keep betting him to score a goal, and he literally his shots are so close, and I'm like, ooh.
Oh yeah,
Brad.
He's got one. He's got one this season.
No, I don't think
no, it was in a cup match.
That's it. Brad, if he starts against Arsenal, I would consider it because you're going to get a ridiculous price, and I guarantee you, this is the game that he scores a worldie. That's the kind of player that shows up in a. He
does have one.
He scored against
Forest.
Yeah, against Forest recently.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah,
so I'm not worried.
Yeah, so if you would have stuck with it and kept betting him, you would have hit it recently.
I had to stop betting. I bet him. I bet him like 5 weeks in a row, and the best price I got was 8-1. So I was like, I had to stop betting him.
Yeah. I feel like these games, like you were saying, like Classico and then Rangers Celtic, like these games are always very back and forth, high pace, high scoring. I'm kind of leaning the over 3 at minus 125, minus 130. It depends on the lineups. It depends on who Spurs have out there. If Arsenal make any sort of rotations or anything like that. But yeah, this feels like a nice little battle on Sunday.
I'm ready. I'm so hyped. I'm going to be in England as well, so fingers crossed I'm able to watch the game. Yeah,
are you going?
Oh no, I'm not going to the game. It's bachelor party weekend, so going to be off the grid. Hopefully, someone has the game on somewhere because
you'll find it.
He's gonna be tanning his tees. He's gonna be tanning his tees.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm excited about that one. And then we have City playing another game where you're like, what's going to happen here? Forest against Man City.
Forest are going to score. Forest always score against City.
Yes,
I do think Forest get a goal in this one. But another where City's playing on Thursday, then they got to come right back, play on Sunday on the road. A lot of traveling, so you never know. This is what these managers have been complaining about. This with the scheduling and how much time they've been playing and the fatigue of the players and leading to injuries and things like that. So we'll see what happens. This could be that one. This could be that one for you, Sam.
I'm going to be saying this could be that one right until the end of the season when they play Spurs. God, I hate that I have to rely on Spurs.
It's brutal.
It really is. There's one game outside the Prem that I want to talk about simply because it could be relevant to Champions League, but if Germany gets their fifth coefficient, if they get the coefficient and get the fifth spot, it'll end up being irrelevant. But Leipzig play against Dortmund. And if it is truly a battle for top 4, then this is the game. This is the game that will probably end up deciding top 4 unless someone really chokes it. But it could also end up being completely irrelevant because Germany could get that fifth spot. And then it's just like, okay, we're friends now. Now everyone makes it.
Yeah, I mean, Leipzig are playing really well.
Really
and
well.
they're playing really well, and they're really tough to play at home. This is going to be a extremely tough task for Dortmund on the road, who are coming off, some big games. Obviously that late dagger against Leverkusen's probably going to sting for a little bit, but I would lean Leipzig in this match. I haven't figured out how I'm going to lean, maybe their team total or something, but it's got a high total in this match. I expect goals, but I would lean Leipzig to win this one.
Listen, I will tell you that that crazy bet that I said for that Dortmund Leverkusen match hit. But anyways,
What was it?
it was like Dortmund double chance and under 4.5.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It was plus money. I will start by saying this. I don't have a strong opinion for this match. I didn't think Dortmund played well against Leipzig. Like I thought they just played okay, and I thought I don't think Dortmund played well against Leverkusen. I thought they played okay, and then it kind of felt like Leverkusen was like still on a hangover, But then they survived at the end. So I don't know what to think about this. Leipzig are playing really well, but like minus 150, I don't know. I don't think I could get down with that price. So I just think I would pass this, and unless I find like good parlay pieces, like maybe Leipzig team total over 1.5 parlayed with something, that could probably be like the only thing that would like semi interest me.
Yeah, I was thinking their money line and team total, or their money line and over 1.5, get it down to a better price, because I'm not taking that money line. I mean, I'm looking at it right now and I'm seeing like minus 165. But if you pair it with Leipzig and over 1.5 goals, you can get it down to like minus 125, which is definitely playable.
I like that.
I think I might play Dortmund double chance if it's plus money.
Dortmund going for it, huh?
Yeah, I would rather take Dortmund to tie or bet or win at like a plus 120 than take anything Leipzig minus 120. I just think from a value standpoint.
I see that. Well, I'm at the end of my whiskey, which means we're at the end of our time. Let's wrap up and do our best bets. We hinted towards our goal scorers, but just for clarity's sake, my goal scorer is Isak for Newcastle against Sheffield over the weekend.
Yeah, I'm going with Bruno Fernandes for United against Sheffield on Wednesday, which is when this podcast will be coming out. He's plus 160 over on FanDuel.
Ooh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm. Take some penalties. I expect them to score multiple in this one. So
I'm going Mr. Ollie Watkins versus Chelsea. Hey, listen, if Kai Havertz can go nuts on Chelsea, we better see Ollie Watkins get at least one to break the little slump he's in.
I like that.
Sounds good. Shop around, and if you do lock it in before lineups, which you would have to because Man U are playing on Wednesday, I would make sure to take on a book like BetRivers or Bet365 that voids non-starters.
Yes.
Or you can go for the best odds, but just limit your exposure. So if one of them doesn't start and subs on late, you're not too upset about that. Now, best bets. I had one lined up, but then Brad told me that Arsenal money line is minus 115. So my best bet, and I rarely bet on Arsenal betting on Arsenal to win is a rough one, because if I lose, I'm losing financially, I'm losing emotionally. It's a rough situation all around. But that's a ridiculous price. I don't care if we're playing away from home. This Spurs side is riddled full of injuries, and they play the exact way that supports Arsenal destruction. So yeah, Arsenal money line is absolutely my best bet.
I locked that in as well. It's not my best bet, but my best bet is Crystal Palace team total over 1.5 at plus 110.
And I am going to Serie A on Sunday with Napoli hosting Roma. I'm going with both teams to score at minus 125. Napoli have not kept a clean sheet in 14 straight matches. Yes, Roma will probably still be without Lukaku, but I would expect Asman to get the start after coming off the bench in their last match and scoring. And Tammy did nothing in his return, so I would I mean, he played, he started the last match. So
he looked hurt was what I was saying.
Yeah. So I would expect, Osman to get the start there, and he can definitely play alongside Dybala, and they can get a goal on the road versus this Napoli defense who's been struggling. And both teams have a ton to play for in this game. Roma's looking for a top 4 spot, but also to hang on to Europa League top 5, top 6, and Napoli's trying to get into that top 6, top 5 spot. So a lot to play for in this game.
I like that. I think that at some point Dybala is going to have to step up with Lukaku out. Like, you can't be this great player when there's another good player beside you. They need you to be a great player when that guy's not available. That's when you.
So
like,
I
really
feel
need to
like
step
I
up.
feel like I hope I'm saying his name right, Asman. I feel like he plays so well for country because he gets to play next to the guy from Porto. I can't think of his name right now, but Taremi, yes, and he scored, and Osman scores goals, and Taremi's the one making all the plays, and I feel like him and Dybala can have that same connection where Dybala's making the plays and Osman can score the goals. I mean, he is a good finisher. He hasn't had the opportunities in recent years, but I feel like he could definitely step in for Lukaku, and they can get a goal against Napoli on the road.
Yeah, I just don't want to see Tammy back in there, dude. Like,
No, yeah, me either. I don't expect him to. Like, he did nothing. He looked absolutely awful.
Awful. Like,
Yes.
I don't care if you're gonna give me 50 minutes, give me good 50 minutes. Horrible.
Yeah.
Man, what a game. What a game. I can't wait to bet Napoli corners.
Wow, that's the first time I've heard anyone say they can't wait to bet on Napoli in like a year.
No, Napoli corners have been so funny this year. They've been so dreadful in the first half in corners. You just wait till second half. Doesn't matter the score line. They're going to get at least 4 or 5. And normally they're going to probably be losing or it's going to be tied. And then they're going to set it at like 3.5 or 2.5. And you're like cash it by like the 55th minute. You're like, wow, that was nice.
Love that. Well, that wraps us up nicely. Unfortunately, because I will be out of the country, we will not have an episode later this week, and I'm not going to be back until Tuesday. So we're not going to be able to get a podcast out for the first leg of the semifinals, but we will be back to talk about the first games in the semifinals on Tuesday and bring some action for the Wednesday semifinals as well. And then we'll be right back on schedule going into the second legs, which is where the real action happens. So looking forward to that. And yeah, that brings us nicely to the end. Looking forward to these midweek conclusions, midweek games, weekend games. Gentlemen, before we properly wrap up, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, man. Go on NBCsports.com. Make sure you check out my Premier League betting power rankings. It's an article where I give out 2 bets for every Premier League game and then rank my top 5. Season's been going pretty well, so I'm excited.
Follow me on Twitter or X, BettingThePitch, for all the plays I post in Gold Boyd's Discord. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Beautiful. And yeah, if you're not following me on Twitter, it is at FIFA Brit. And if you aren't subscribed to the Gold Boys YouTube channel, I share videos there as well. I get at least a few out every week. Check those out if you want more in-depth analysis for particular games. And that brings us to the end, gentlemen. It's been great to see you. I'm going to miss you. This weekend. But I probably won't remember missing you by the time I get home. So it's going to be a fun weekend. But while I remain conscious, I will.
Have fun and be safe.
Be safe, be fun. While I'm conscious,
no nipple piercings.
I'll remember you. Deep in my heart. But yeah, should be a fun trip returning to the homeland. We're glad we could get together and get this one out because we got a load of games coming up this week, which is wonderful. Love the end of the Premier League season. Gets me excited, even though I know Arsenal are going to choke it. It's nice to have hope. Thank you to the Gold Network for hosting our podcast. This has been the final third. Best of luck with all your bets, and we will catch you guys in the next one.